All right, you walk by any tourist terrace in Thailand, and you've probably seen it. You have an older Western guy sitting across from a much younger Thai woman having dinner in almost complete silence. He's looking at his feed, he's looking at the sky, she's on her phone. I'll admit, kind of awkward to watch, I won't lie. And it is textbook creepy old man stereotype. Now today we are going to unpack that exact image, diving into the highly controversial passport bro culture and asking some really uncomfortable questions about modern dating. Before the comments come for me, okay, let me set the stage. If you're new here, hello, my name is Allie. I am a sex ed student with the Sexual Health Alliance, and I'm really interested in learning about bodies and sex and spicy things and relationships and coming on here and sharing them with you. And I also travel a lot, so I am really interested in sex and culture around the world and how diverse it is. So for one thing to be okay in one country and for it to be not okay in another country, just fascinating how differently we all live our lives on some levels, and then on some other levels, we're all exactly the same. But yeah, I travel to Thailand often for the last couple of years, and I have spent a lot of time in those kinds of places where the terraces and the older gentleman and the younger woman. So I've observed a lot. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm interested in this topic, and I understand that it is quite complex, it's quite nuanced, and there are a lot of stereotypes. And by no means am I saying that this video paints the entire picture, and I'm certainly not here to blindly defend the bad behavior of many men abroad. But there is a lot of nuance here, and I simply want to share some insights from the people actually living it, the people I've spoken to, what I've observed, and so on, and hear what you have to say about it. And I guess try and understand it a little bit more on a human level and just point out that there's a lot of nuance here. So if you like this kind of content, subscribe. And by the way, this is part 4 of a 3-part series on Thailand. The first one was cultural attitudes of sex. The second one was inside the industry, where we talked about the red light district a little bit more. And the third one was about sex education and what's happening inside the bedroom with couples and so on, and what are Thai people struggling with in the bedroom and things like that. So let's get into today's video. First, we have to bust a massive myth about who is actually traveling to Thailand. Now, the media loves to focus exclusively on Western men, but they do not make up the main population of visitors. There is a massive demographic of Indian, Chinese, Korean, and Japanese tourists here. You see them everywhere. And behind closed doors, the sex workers have very honest opinions about it. Now, I sat down with several women in the industry, and they shared their unfiltered takes on which cultures they actually prefer spending time with. And interestingly, many expressed a strong preference for Western clients. And they shared that Westerners often treat the interaction more like a traditional date. You know, they want to talk, they want to have a drink. There's often a bit more gentleness and respect involved, whereas they find some other demographics treat the exchange as strictly transactional and sometimes a little bit rougher. But just to preface here, I'm not just talking about sex worker relationships in this video. I'm talking about those, but also just relationships and dating in general with non-sex workers. But let's just zoom in on the Western men, okay? Because the reality of why many of them are here is vastly different, I think, from the stereotype. Now, a lot of these guys are not necessarily coming here to be predators, they're escaping an absolute epidemic of total invisibility back home. And let's not ignore the practical economic side for this, okay? So for a lot of men moving to Thailand, and not just men, sorry, just women as well, whoever, Thailand is a massive financial upgrade. Their pensions or retirement savings stretch incredibly far in Thailand compared to the high cost of living in the West. And Thailand actually caters directly to this by offering specific retirement visas to foreigners 50 and older, which makes it incredibly easy to relocate. So yes, they might be dating, but a huge reason why we see so many older foreigners living out their retirement in Thailand is simply because their money buys them a much higher quality of life. Now, when you're retired, you ask yourself, what am I gonna do? Where do I wanna live? How do I wanna spend the rest of my time on Earth? What kind of climate do I want? And things like that. So those are important questions. Some people want a completely different life. Enjoy some mango, some fresh papaya, some beautiful Thai weather, Thai food, all that stuff. But beyond the financial aspect, there is also an emotional one, as I mentioned before. I recently received a comment on my YouTube channel from my previous video about the industry in Thailand from a guy who said something that really stuck with me that I feel like I've heard a few times from other gentlemen that I've spoke to. So I spent a few months in Pattaya, and while you emphasize the sex work, it is very nice to be able to go into a bar, buy a young lady a drink and have her cuddle up next to me. In my everyday life, I go weeks at a time with zero physical contact. It was nice to have bar girls happy to see me, not because I spend lots of money on them, but because I treated them with kindness and grace. Also, I really enjoyed walking down the street and getting catcalled by both girls and ladyboys. I am invisible in the US, and being seen makes such a difference. So I just want to say here as well that, not everyone is looking for a transactional type of relationship over there. Some people are really just craving companionship. I mean, I've spoken to a few guys who can't even get it up because they have a disability, because they're just old or whatever. And, they just miss having someone to talk to, even though sometimes they're not always talking, but even just a hug, they're not necessarily looking for sex, but they want some kind of intimate hug. Anyways, I will be getting more into the male loneliness epidemic a bit later in this video. But I just wanted to bring a really important distinction we need to make about transactional relationships. So we tend to view the word transactional as entirely negative or predatory. But in reality, these dynamics often evolve into mutually beneficial arrangements where both parties get their specific needs met. The man gets the companionship, care, and visibility he is desperately lacking back home, and the woman gets financial stability, security, and a better quality life for herself or her family. And when there's honesty and clear boundaries on both sides, this arrangement is simply an exchange of different types of value. Now, when you talk to local foreigners, you hear exactly how this plays out in the real world. So one of the bar owners of somewhere that we go to often for soda water told me that many of these older guys are just looking for peace. They end up deeply caring about the local community, often helping out financially with zero expectation of getting anything in return. Now, to give you an example of this, I know a guy who hangs out regularly once a week at a BJ bar, but he doesn't actually do anything. He's never been inside. He's never had a BJ from this bar. He just kind of goes and has a drink with them. And every single Wednesday, he stops at the market and he buys a kilo of shrimp for the bar's cat and a kilo of squid for the girls. And then he goes and the girls cook the squid and they just kind of hang out and eat. It's kind of just about some human connection. So this brings us to the highly controversial passport bro culture and the big P word, the patriarchy. The loudest critique in the West is that these men are fleeing because feminism leveled the playing field and they can't handle it anymore. Now, I can already hear the keyboards clicking right now, Ali, that's great they want connection, but why does a 60-year-old man need to find a connection with a 25-year-old if they just want a traditional relationship? Why not just date a woman their own age back home? Now, this is a completely fair question, okay? And let's be real. For some guys, it is entirely about leveraging their economic advantage to maintain the patriarchy and dominate a much younger woman. Part of it is just the harsh reality of the transactional exchange we just talked about, so trading financial security for youth and beauty. But we also have to try to look at this through a non-Western lens for a second. And I'm not saying it's the right way or the wrong way or whatever, but just to get our minds moving a little bit. So in the West, a 30-year age gap raises immediate red flags. But in Thailand, and for many other Eastern cultures, the provider role carries incredible weight. So if an older man is a genuine provider who takes care of the woman and by extension, her extended family, the local culture often views that as pragmatic, acceptable, and even sometimes respectable arrangement. Simply doesn't carry the exact same social stigma as it does back in the West. And when you look at the broader community boards and forums, the reality of what these men are actually looking for is a little more nuanced. Now, I don't really go on Reddit ever. My boyfriend does though, and he's on the Passport Bro Reddit, and he always shares with me the funny things that he reads because he finds them very entertaining. And he often tells me, the guys on Passport Bros on Reddit, they're not talking about effing girls and sex and this. A lot of them are really looking for information on dating culture. They want to meet someone nice. They want to find a girlfriend. And so I went to check it out for myself and I was like, you know what? He's kind of right. The prevailing theme wasn't really dominance. It was really connection. And I saw some real honest quotes I'm having such bad luck dating back home. I just really want real love and connection. And I didn't know that was available until I came here. I want a partner where we actually like spending time together, where small gestures are appreciated and not analyzed. So the vast majority of these guys seem to be normal men who just want a little bit of romance. Now, I don't know these guys. Okay, I'm just reading their comments through a forum. Why can't I say that word? Through a forum. So what do I know? But there's no doubt that another theme is that they are just completely burnt out on Western dating culture. And honestly, who can blame them? And by the way, this goes for the woman too, okay? I'm not just like rooting for the guys here. It goes both ways. Everyone's fed up with each other. So there was a recent Forbes health study, and they found that 78% of people using dating apps feel just mentally and emotionally drained by the experience in the West. Also, I think it's really important to talk about how incredibly insulting the submissive label is to Thai women. You often hear that, oh, they go to be with a submissive woman and so on, or whatever, or any other woman from, similar Eastern cultures, because it's just assuming that these women are just like passive victims, like willing to take whatever scraps the West is throwing at them and just completely strips them of their agency and standards. So I just want to put that out there because Thai women are incredibly powerful and smart and independent. And I think it's really important that we kind of change that narrative a little bit. So going back to passport bros, I met a young guy from the UK traveling alone. He's been traveling for almost a year now through Southeast Asia. I asked him about his dating experiences and he was very quick to be like, oh, I'm not a passport bro though. I was like, okay, because the stigma is so heavy right now. If you're labeled as a passport bro, you're like a misogynistic manosphere asshole. But yeah, so he was casually dating on the apps because he's like, I'm traveling alone for a long time and at some point like gets kind of lonely, I want to meet people, maybe have some sex, but if sex doesn't happen, that's okay. He just wants some connection mostly. And he told me that in his experience, the local girls are, incredibly vocal about like in the apps, like no short term, no friends with benefits, no holiday girlfriends. Like they want real committed relationships. And I can't even imagine how tough it is for Thai women to be dating on an app, because I'm sure there are a lot of men who are looking for like short-term friends with benefits, like short-term holiday girlfriend and stuff like that. And they're just like, oh, I just want to find a boyfriend. I want to get married, and have a baby or whatever. He also shared a story about casually dating a Japanese girl in Japan. And one morning he made her coffee and breakfast. And this was like a completely normal, low effort thing for him to do. And she was absolutely floored and so beyond appreciative, telling him that men back home simply don't do those things. And he realized that these women, they don't really have wild, unattainable expectations. They just want honesty, respect, and security, which was very different than the dating landscape he was experiencing back in the West, and women are often pegged as being very, high maintenance and high expectations and high standards. And which brings me to my passport sisters. I'm starting a new movement. Maybe it already exists. There's probably already a subreddit about this. I need to check it out. So there's this twist that like no one's really talking about, and it's not just a male phenomenon. So there is this low-key passport sisters movement happening right now. Now, I know plenty of women who are completely fed up with the dating scene as well back home. They are packing up their bags, traveling, and actively looking to meet men from other countries and cultures. Why? Because they are looking for different core values. There's different beauty standards. So moving away from the rigid, impossible, I say twice, beauty metrics of Western social media to places where they feel like genuinely appreciated. I mean, I could attest to that too. There's so much pressure to look a certain way back in the West. You don't really feel that much in other parts of the world. And also for traditional courtship. So seeking environments where dating feels more intentional and less like transactional swipe on a screen, People traveling to find romance, intimacy, or even just like a fun, casual fling is not new. This has existed for as long as international travel has. So if men are leaving because they feel invisible and unappreciated, and women are leaving because they are exhausted by the exact same dating pool and their needs not being met, it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. What the hell is happening in the West that makes everyone hate each other so much? Like, we've created a dating culture back home that leaves everyone feeling drained, defensive, and completely alone. All I'm saying is that maybe instead of judging the people who are leaving to find connection, I'm talking about men and women here, we need to take a hard look at why our own backyard is so impossible to date in right now. And I'm not even in the dating pool. I'm hearing this from friends and reading it online and so on. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Expand my mind. I'm sure you have a lot to say about this topic. I know it's a heavy one. It's an interesting one. And if you like this style of deep dive series, please let me know. It's the first time I've kind of done like a full series on a country or a specific topic. I can absolutely do more of these. It was fun to do. And if you want more of me, or if you want to check out my uncut interviews, behind the scenes content, speaking of uncut interviews, I do have an interview on my Patreon that is an interview with a sexologist in Thailand, and we talk a lot about sexual attitudes when it comes to pleasure and what couples are struggling with in Thailand, and also the differences between Canada and Thailand. And I also have an interview with a foreigner who's been living in Thailand for 20, 25 years and talking about his experience on all levels. So if you want to check that out, join my Patreon. I'm going to put the link in the description. And as usual, Kapun Ka. Thank you so much for joining me in this Thailand series. Kapun Ka, by the way, is thank you in Thai. And I'll see you in my next videos. Thank you for watching. Yuvizem.